change usually takes place when you get to a place of enough is enough. If you've heard me talk about that police helicopter chase where, me and my friends, and I was the getaway driver, we went and we cased the house and we thought the house was empty, meaning the people weren't home. They had left for work. And so we cased this house and my friends got out and went into the backyard to break in and steal, valuables from the house. And then I was sitting there in my Toyota pickup waiting for them to come out with all the stuff and I would take off like we had done that before. Well, as it turns out, this, unfortunately, this sweet little old lady was still in the house and my friends spooked her, freaked her out. And so, she freaked them out. They came running out within seconds. They're like, drive, drive, drive. And of course, I take off. Before you know it, there's a police helicopter. I think it was Boynton Park PD. And so my friends end up going to jail. I get released. They impound my car, obviously. I get several citations, one of them being for reckless driving, the other one being for exhibition of speed. I got a slap on the wrist, considering what my friends got, right? Because they were in the house and she was able to identify them visually. And for me, that was a enough is enough moment. Like that was like, all right, dude, something has to change now. And I always think about that, right? Like you might want something. You might want a better life. You might want to have a fit and athletic body. You might want to have a better relationship. You might want to start making more money and win your financial freedom. You might want to have better self-control, self-mastery. You might want to have greater confidence. Whatever those things you want, they're on the other side of the enough is enough moment that you must have. And if you haven't had that yet, then you haven't hit rock bottom. For me, it was rock bottom when I had that moment sitting on the front bumper of a police cruiser along with my friends, and this woman who's in the police squad car across from us is looking at my friends and nodding her head, yes, 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 as in I visualize them, I identify them, and she looked at me and she goes, nope. And I was like, thank God, man, this is my chance. Like enough is enough. Like I just got a free get out of jail card and I'm going to use it. And so you've heard of this happening. Sadly, it happens when some woman is in a bad relationship. Maybe she's got a husband who's abusive, physically, emotionally, mentally. You hear about the dude will be abusive with her and the kids, and this thing continues for 5, 10 years. And then one day, he'll take off his socks and throw them on the ground and leave them on the ground and just look at her as though, hey, you're pretty much my maid. It's your job to pick up my socks. Right? This guy's a fucking asshole as far as I'm concerned. He's not a fucking man. He's a fucking asshole. And while he was abusive to her and the kids for all those years, that was the enough is enough moment. That was the moment that she's like, fuck this guy. When he leaves for work, I'm fucking out of here. Like, what is it that a person will go through years of abuse, physical, mental, emotional. They'll allow their children to go through physical, mental, emotional abuse. And I get what it is. It's like, well, he makes the money and without the money, we don't have a place to live. I get all that. But what I'm saying is there's always a breaking point. And the breaking point isn't like, man, he beat me into a bloody pulp and then we left. Quite often, in fact, it's something small that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And that one small thing was just like, she's like, fuck this, I'm out. Grabs the kids the next morning when he leaves for work and takes off. And that is when change takes place in her life. And that's what I mean when I say flipping the switch. That is when the switch is flipped in her, right? The switch was flipped in me because I knew it was easy money to carjack people, to rob their homes and take that stuff to the pawn shop. And the pawn shop at the time, back in the 90s, they don't ask questions. They just take the stuff, give you the cash and a ticket, like we're actually going to come back and get the stuff back. And then we bounce. It was easy money for me. And so while I knew what I was doing was bad, I knew deep down inside I was building up karmic debt. I knew that I was not meant to do this. I knew, in fact, I was meant to do a lot more in my life. That helicopter chase where we got caught was my enough is enough moment. And I was like, boom, that fucking flipping of the switch must happen now. And so I share this lesson with you right now because change literally does happen in an instant when you are willing to change and flip that switch. Change happens in an instant. You might have thought about it for years. I had thought about like not carjacking and not robbing homes for a long time. But that one thing happened that I was like, dude, this was a gift from God. Accept it, be grateful for it, and move on. I was done. I am no longer going to do things that are going to build up my karmic debt. Instead, I'm going to build up goodwill for the rest of my life. And since then, I've been on a mission, right? On a mission. Since 19 years old, I've been on a fucking mission to just be a better human. So when I share that with you and I say, look, average is the enemy, what do I mean? See, I believe that the opposition, I believe that the system, I believe that big government and big mega pharma and big businesses, they need worker bees. They need worker bees to run the factories, to run the machines, to create the products, to pay the taxes. They want you to stay broke and dependent and scared and just on the brink of losing it all financially, because that is how they get the highest level of control and compliance. And so when I created this mantra for myself that average is the enemy, that success is my responsibility, and that change can take place in an instant when you and me decide to flip the switch, I'm constantly reminding myself every single morning that I have control. Like, the opposition wants us to stay average. Our neighbors want us to stay average. Hell, your family wants you to stay average, because when you change, your family fears that change. They don't like the 2.0 version of you. They don't like the evolved version of you. They don't like the version of you that all of a sudden is having higher standards in life and setting higher expectations. They are unfamiliar with that person, and that is scary to them. And so, yes, average is the enemy. Yet so much of society, humanity, all the systems, all the big organizations are set up to keep everybody average. And you must fight the momentum of average to break through to extraordinary, to savage. Success is your responsibility. Why do I say that? Well, it's to remind you that it is not your parents' responsibility to make you successful in life. And by the way, I'm not just talking about financial success. Financial success by itself is not success. Because if I had all the possessions like I have the money, I have the land, I have the properties, I have the stuff, but if I don't have my health, how's that success? If I don't have my family and friends to be able to enjoy these things, how is that success? If I don't have peace of mind, if I don't have this feeling of fulfillment, that every day I'm doing something to serve humanity, to inspire others, to give back, to get one step closer to my higher calling, how's that success, right? So success holistically is all of that: relationship, health, money, peace of mind, great sleep, fitness, fulfillment. And that's important for you to understand, because no one owes you that. You are not owed that. You were born into this world by yourself. On your deathbed, it will be you. You may have people around you holding your hand, praying for you, letting you know how much they love you, but it will be you dying and not them. That's the reality. We come into this world alone. We die alone. What we do between those times is success or failure. So success is your responsibility. Success is your responsibility. Don't be a fucking victim. Don't expect any preferential treatment for the lifestyle that you want to live. That's personal responsibility at the highest level. I am accountable for every word that comes out of my mouth into this microphone. I'm accountable for every decision that gets made in all the different companies that I own and lead. It is my responsibility. Pandemic comes, it is my responsibility to guide this business to success. We have this president or that president, I don't care if it's a Democrat or Republican, success is my responsibility. So when I say success is your responsibility, is exactly that. It doesn't matter who you came from, what color you are, what freak flag you fly. None of that matters. Your circumstances don't matter. How much you were abused, it doesn't matter, because today you have a decision to make. You could be listening to this or not. You could be making money or not. You could be screen sucking or not. You can go work out or not. You could eat right or not. You can drink your water or not. You can learn a new language or not. You can go ask for that raise or not. You can go make that decision or not. You have more control than you think. And I'm here to let you know that if you give yourself the permission to take absolute ownership and responsibility of everything in your life, which also comes with a high amount of risk. Do you know why? Because then you've got no one to blame when something goes wrong, because you made the decision. It was your choice. And so finally, when I say circumstances, where you came from, what you did, a bankruptcy, like, do you know how many people right now? It's 2023. And just the other day, I met a dude who said, I lost it all in 2008 housing market crash. In 2008 housing market crash, 15 years ago, he lost it all. And he's still telling that story. If you're constantly telling your story of how you lost it all 15 years ago, how in that divorce, everything was great until she left you out of the blue. And I go, when? 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Are you going to keep telling that story, dude? Or are you going to start taking absolute responsibility? And so I need you to understand the last part of this, where I say change can take place in an instant when you decide to flip the switch. You have to get to that enough is enough moment. You have to get to that place where you go, that's it. I will not accept any more of this. This is where I draw the line. I am holding the line. I'm building the boundaries. And if you are willing to do that, you are able then to finally flip the switch. But you have to get sick and tired of the BS. You have to say enough is enough. You have to look in the mirror and go, hey, fella, enough of your BS, of making excuses, of procrastinating, of blaming others. Take personal responsibility and flip the switch. And when you do, you will go from flighty to focused. You can go from bitch to beast, from negative to positive, from fat to fit. You can go from broke to wealthy, from emotional to rational. You can go from average to savage. You can go from scarcity to abundance. You can go from a pleasure seeker to a purpose-driven man, and you will go from fear to freedom. But only when you decide to flip the switch.